Hello, friends. Welcome back to PMP Exam Express. I'm your host, Mark. The PMP exam questions we have will cover both Agile Practice Guide and Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide 7th edition. Please subscribe, like, and share our content. This keeps us motivated to produce more content. Let us begin. 1. Olivia, a project manager at Greenflow Pipelines, is initiating a project to construct an advanced oil distribution pipeline. Before project execution, a key stakeholder demands a major design change. What should Olivia do first? A. Implement the change immediately to satisfy the stakeholder. B. Conduct an impact assessment of the requested change. C. Reject the change since it was not part of the initial scope. D. Proceed with execution and address the change later. Answer: B. Conduct an impact assessment of the requested change. Explanation: changes requested during initiation must be assessed for their impact on scope, schedule, and budget before proceeding. A structured review helps in decision-making. 2. Jason is leading a pipeline automation project for Petrolink Corp. During initiation, the leadership team struggles to align the project with business strategy. What should Jason do? A. Conduct a benefits analysis to align the project with organizational goals. B. Start execution immediately, assuming alignment will be addressed later. C. Request more funding to accommodate potential strategic changes. D. Focus only on technical execution and ignore strategic alignment. Answer: A. Conduct a benefits analysis to align the project with organizational goals. Explanation: projects must deliver measurable value and align with strategic objectives. A benefits analysis helps ensure project success. 3. Aiden is assigned as project manager for an emergency fuel pipeline repair at Hydrotech Ltd. Before execution begins, he realizes key stakeholders have conflicting expectations. What should Aiden do? A. Conduct stakeholder analysis to identify concerns and manage expectations. B. Ignore the conflicts and proceed with project execution. C. Delay project initiation until all stakeholders agree. D. Remove difficult stakeholders from the project. Answer: A. Conduct stakeholder analysis to identify concerns and manage expectations. Explanation: a stakeholder analysis helps understand interests, priorities, and possible conflicts early in the project. 4. Laura is managing a pipeline safety upgrade project for Safe Flow Energy. The project sponsor insists on using an aggressive timeline, but the team lacks resources. What should Laura do first? A. Assess resource availability and adjust the project plan accordingly. B. Accept the sponsor's demand without evaluation. C. Increase the project budget to hire more staff. D. Proceed with the existing team and hope for efficiency gains. Answer: A. Assess resource availability and adjust the project plan accordingly. Explanation: during initiation, project feasibility must be assessed before committing to unrealistic expectations. 5. Ethan is initiating a pipeline integrity assessment project at OilLink Solutions. To ensure compliance with safety regulations, what should be his first step? A. Identify all relevant regulatory requirements and integrate them into the project plan. B. Wait until execution to address compliance issues. C. Assign compliance responsibility to the legal team and focus on execution. D. Ignore compliance as it is outside project scope. Answer: A. Identify all relevant regulatory requirements and integrate them into the project plan. Explanation: project compliance must be planned from the beginning to avoid legal and financial risks. 6. Sophia is managing a pipeline infrastructure upgrade for EcoFlow Energy. Based on the project lifecycle diagram, what is the key project output during the initial phase? A. Project Charter. B. Accepted deliverables. C. Project Management Plan. D. Archived project documents. Answer: A. Project Charter explanation. Phase A in the diagram represents the project initiation phase, where the project charter is the key deliverable. The charter authorizes the project, defines objectives, and assigns the project manager. 7. Liam is planning a new oil pipeline project for Petrotech Limited. According to the project lifecycle diagram, when should the project management plan be finalized? A. During the starting the project phase. B. During the organizing and preparing phase. C. During the carrying out the work phase. D. During the closing the project phase. Answer: B. During the organizing and preparing phase. Explanation: Phase B in the diagram corresponds to the project management plan development, which occurs during the organizing and preparing stage. This plan serves as a roadmap for execution. 8. Ryan is leading a fuel distribution project for Transgas Corp. The project is in the carrying out the work phase. C. What key activity is expected during this phase based on the diagram? A. Stakeholder identification. B. Execution of project tasks. C. Archiving project documents. D. Creating the project charter. Answer: B. Execution of project tasks. Explanation: Phase C in the diagram represents project execution, where the bulk of the work is carried out. This includes team coordination, task execution, and quality control. 9. Jessica is finalizing a pipeline automation project for NextGen Energy. According to the project lifecycle diagram, what is the primary focus of the final phase? D. A. Developing the project management plan. B. Conducting project execution. C. Archiving project documents and closing activities. D. Approving the budget for execution. Answer: C. Archiving project documents and closing activities. Explanation: Phase D in the diagram represents project closure, where final deliverables are accepted and documents are archived for future reference. 10. Lucas is a project manager at Fuel Grid Solutions. His team has completed all deliverables and the project is in its final stage. What should be the next step based on the project lifecycle diagram? A. Obtain formal acceptance of the deliverables. B. Start a new project immediately. C. Skip documentation and close the project informally. D. Make last-minute changes without approval. Answer: A. Obtain formal acceptance of the deliverables. Explanation: Before archiving documents in Phase D, formal acceptance of project deliverables ensures the project meets stakeholder expectations. 11. A project manager is overseeing a critical infrastructure upgrade. During execution, New government regulations are introduced that impact compliance requirements. What should the project manager do first? A. Immediately implement the changes to remain compliant. B. Assess the impact of the new regulations on project scope, schedule, and cost. C. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor and request additional funding. D. Wait for the next project status meeting to discuss potential changes. Answer: B. Assess the impact of the new regulations on project scope, schedule, and cost. Explanation: Regulatory changes are part of the external business environment that can affect project execution. The project manager should perform an impact assessment before implementing changes to determine the necessary adjustments to scope, cost, and schedule. 12. A company is adopting business process reengineering, BPR, for its petroleum pipeline operations. Which of the following should the project manager focus on to ensure value delivery? Select 2. A. Aligning process improvements with strategic business goals. B. Conducting lessons learned at project closure. C. Ensuring documentation aligns with regulatory standards. D. Delivering incremental benefits instead of complete process redesign. Answer: A. Aligning process improvements with strategic business goals. C. Ensuring documentation aligns with regulatory standards. Explanation: BPR initiatives must ensure that the redesigned processes align with business objectives and comply with regulatory requirements. Lessons learned and incremental benefits are useful, but do not directly drive value in large-scale reengineering projects. 13. A project team is reviewing the project lifecycle diagram below. Based on the graph, at which stage is cost and staffing level highest? Referencing the provided diagram. A. Project charter development. B. Planning phase. C. Execution phase. D. Project closure. Answer: C. Execution phase. Explanation: The project lifecycle diagram shows that cost and staffing levels peak during execution. This phase involves carrying out the project work, requiring the most resources. 14. An organization is shifting from traditional project management to agile methodologies. What is the biggest challenge the project manager may face? A. Ensuring strict adherence to the original project plan. B. Managing resistance to change from stakeholders. C. Implementing agile without modifying team structures. D. Reducing the number of project deliverables. Answer: B. Managing resistance to change from stakeholders. Explanation: Organizational change management is critical when transitioning to agile. Resistance from stakeholders is a major challenge, requiring strong leadership and stakeholder engagement. 15. A petroleum pipeline upgrade project has identified compliance risks. How should the project manager integrate compliance monitoring into project execution? Select 3. A. Conducting periodic compliance audits. B. Assigning a dedicated compliance officer. C. Ignoring minor compliance deviations to avoid project delays. D. Incorporating compliance milestones in the schedule. E. Relying solely on external auditors for compliance validation. Answer: A. Conducting periodic compliance audits. B. Assigning a dedicated compliance officer. D. Incorporating compliance milestones in the schedule. Explanation. Compliance is a continuous process that requires monitoring throughout execution. Periodic audits, a compliance officer, and milestone tracking ensure adherence to regulations. 16. A project is at the execution stage when an external economic downturn impacts the organization's budget. What should the project manager do first? A. Submit a change request to reduce project scope. B. Evaluate the financial impact on the project and recommend actions. C. Immediately stop work until new funding is approved. D. Continue execution without changes, assuming the company will handle the issue. Answer B. Evaluate the financial impact on the project and recommend actions. Explanation. External business environment changes, such as economic downturns, can impact project budgets. The project manager should assess the impact before taking any corrective actions. 17. A project to digitize petroleum pipeline maintenance records is in execution. The client requests additional cybersecurity features beyond the agreed scope. How should the project manager handle this? A. Reject the request since it is out of scope. B. Accept the request and incorporate it immediately. C. Initiate a change request and assess the impact on scope, cost, and schedule. D. Escalate the request to the project sponsor without taking action. Answer. C. Initiate a change request and assess the impact on scope, cost, and schedule. Explanation. Unapproved changes, scope creep, can impact project success. A structured change control process ensures that changes are evaluated before implementation. 18. A project manager is responsible for a major pipeline repurposing project. What steps should they take to ensure project benefits are realized post-execution? Select 2. A. Develop a benefits realization plan. B. Document only the immediate project deliverables. C. Transition ownership to operations teams with clear KPIs. D. Close the project as soon as deliverables are handed over. Answer. A. Develop a benefits realization plan. C. Transition ownership to operations teams with clear KPIs. Explanation. Delivering benefits extends beyond execution and requires clear planning and ownership transfer. 19. Which compliance risk is most relevant when executing a project to develop a new petroleum pipeline monitoring system? A. Ensuring stakeholder satisfaction. B. Adhering to environmental safety standards. C. Reducing project costs. D. Managing internal team conflicts. Answer. B. Adhering to environmental safety standards. Explanation. Petroleum projects must comply with environmental regulations, making compliance a key focus during execution. 20. The project execution phase is ongoing, and the customer expresses dissatisfaction with the deliverables. What should the project manager do first? A. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor. B. Review the requirements and collaborate with the customer to address concerns. C. Delay customer engagement until project closure. D. Ignore the feedback since the project scope was already approved. Answer. B. Review the requirements and collaborate with the customer to address concerns. Explanation. Continuous stakeholder engagement ensures customer satisfaction and prevents rework at later stages. 21. A project to modernize a petroleum pipeline is in execution when new environmental laws are introduced. What should the project manager do first? A. Continue with execution as planned since changes were not anticipated. B. Submit a formal change request to adjust the project plan. C. Terminate the project as it no longer complies with regulations. D. Ignore the new laws since they were not part of the initial project requirements. Answer: B. Submit a formal change request to adjust the project plan. Explanation: New regulatory requirements impact project scope and compliance. A change request ensures proper assessment and integration into the project plan. 22. During the execution of a pipeline automation project, a key stakeholder insists on an undocumented requirement. What is the best course of action? A. Implement the requirement immediately to maintain stakeholder satisfaction. B. Document the request and evaluate its impact before making a decision. C. Ignore the request as it was not part of the initial project charter. D. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor and wait for further guidance. Answer: B. Document the request and evaluate its impact before making a decision. Explanation: Stakeholder needs must be managed through proper change control processes to prevent scope creep. 23. A project manager is leading the execution of a pipeline infrastructure project when a sudden material shortage occurs. What should they do first? A. Seek alternative suppliers and update the risk register. B. Stop the project until the original supplier can deliver. C. Change project scope to remove dependencies on the material. D. Ignore the issue and continue execution as planned. Answer: A. Seek alternative suppliers and update the risk register. Explanation: Proactive risk management ensures project continuity by addressing supply chain risks. 24. A pipeline repurposing project requires an external consultant to provide expertise in sustainable energy solutions. What type of contract is most appropriate? A. Fixed price contract. B. Time and materials contract. C. Cost reimbursable contract. D. Performance-based contract. Answer: B. Time and materials contract. Explanation: When scope is uncertain, a TM contract allows flexibility while ensuring cost control. 25. A project team is struggling with resistance to a new pipeline monitoring system. What should the project manager do? A. Identify change champions and communicate benefits. B. Force the team to adopt the system without discussion. C. Ignore the resistance and proceed with implementation. D. Replace resistant team members. Answer: A. Identify change champions and communicate benefits. Explanation: Organizational change management requires engagement and communication to ensure adoption. 26. A compliance audit during project execution reveals a deviation from environmental standards. What should the project manager do? A. Document the findings and develop a corrective action plan. B. Hide the findings to avoid project delays. C. Continue execution and fix the issue later. D. Blame the compliance team for not identifying the issue earlier. Answer: A. Document the findings and develop a corrective action plan. Explanation. Compliance must be monitored and enforced throughout execution to prevent legal and regulatory violations. 27. Which of the following are key indicators of project benefit realization? Select 2. A. Increased customer satisfaction. B. Project completion within the original timeline. C. Measurable business value achieved. D. Low project cost. Answer. A. Increased customer satisfaction. C. Measurable business value achieved. Explanation. Successful projects must deliver tangible benefits beyond cost and schedule compliance. 28. What action should a project manager take if a major government policy change impacts pipeline regulations? A. Analyze the impact and update the project plan. B. Ignore the change since the project has already started. C. Escalate the issue to the sponsor and continue as planned. D. Request additional funding without impact analysis. Answer. A. Analyze the impact and update the project plan. Explanation. Projects must adapt to external regulatory changes to remain compliant. 29. Sarah, a project manager at Oilflow Solutions, is executing a pipeline expansion project when she discovers that a contractor has failed to adhere to the agreed safety standards. What should Sarah do first? A. Immediately terminate the contractor's contract. B. Issue a corrective action request and conduct a compliance audit. C. Ignore the issue if it does not delay the project. D. Reduce the contractor's payment as a penalty. Answer. B. Issue a corrective action request and conduct a compliance audit. Explanation. Safety compliance is critical in high-risk industries like petroleum pipelines. Corrective actions ensure standards are met without unnecessary contract termination. 30. Mark, a senior project manager at Green Petro Limited, is leading the execution of a refinery automation project. Midway through the project, a key supplier files for bankruptcy. What should Mark do first? A. Identify alternative suppliers and update the risk register. B. Terminate the project and submit a failure report. C. Request additional funding to cover potential delays. D. Continue with execution without taking any immediate action. Answer. A. Identify alternative suppliers and update the risk register. Explanation. The unavailability of critical suppliers is a high-impact risk. Risk response strategies must include alternative sourcing to prevent project failure. 31. John, a project manager at Hydrofuel Corp., is overseeing a project to upgrade an existing fuel pipeline to support biofuels. A major stakeholder insists on adding new features that were not included in the approved scope. What should John do? A. Accept the new features to maintain stakeholder satisfaction. B. Submit a formal change request and assess the impact. C. Reject the request and proceed with the original scope. D. Escalate the issue to senior management without analysis. Answer. B. Submit a formal change request and assess the impact. Explanation. Changes in scope require formal evaluation to ensure alignment with project objectives and avoid scope creep. 32. Jennifer is managing a pipeline maintenance project for Petrolink Ltd. A regulatory body introduces new environmental standards that will impact the project. What should Jennifer do first? A. Continue as planned and address compliance later. B. Immediately halt the project and wait for legal advice. C. Analyze the impact and submit a change request. D. Ignore the new standards as they were not part of the original plan. Answer. C. Analyze the impact and submit a change request. Explanation. Regulatory changes must be evaluated for their impact on project scope, budget, and schedule. 33. Liam is leading a pipeline digitization project for smart oil technologies. During execution, the project falls behind schedule due to technical complexities. Which agile approach could help recover lost time? A. Implement backlog refinement and prioritize high-value tasks. B. Ignore the delay and continue with the existing schedule. C. Request additional resources without modifying execution strategies. D. Replace the entire project team with new members. Answer. A. Implement backlog refinement and prioritize high-value tasks. Explanation. Agile principles emphasize flexibility and continuous backlog refinement to adapt execution for optimal outcomes. 34. At Nova Pipeline Corp., project manager Alex is executing a pipeline corrosion monitoring system. The team identifies a critical design flaw in the implemented solution. What should Alex do first? A. Conduct a root cause analysis and determine corrective actions. B. Continue execution and address the flaw after project closure. C. Ignore the issue since the system is already deployed. D. Blame the design team and proceed with penalties. Answer. A. Conduct a root cause analysis and determine corrective actions. Explanation. Identifying defects during execution requires root cause analysis to prevent recurrence and maintain quality. 35. A multinational oil company, Petrofusion, is implementing a project to automate pipeline monitoring. During execution, they experience resistance from field technicians who fear job losses. What should the project manager do? A. Implement a change management plan to communicate benefits. B. Force the technicians to accept the automation without discussion. C. Ignore the resistance and proceed with execution. D. Terminate the project to avoid further conflict. Answer. A. Implement a change management plan to communicate benefits. Explanation. Organizational change management ensures that stakeholders understand and accept project outcomes. 36. Sophia is executing a pipeline safety project at Flowtech Energy. Midway, senior leadership asks for an early assessment of project benefits. What should Sophia do? A. Conduct a benefits realization analysis and present findings. B. Delay the assessment until project closure. C. Ignore the request since project execution is ongoing. D. Request additional budget before assessing benefits. Answer. A. Conduct a benefits realization analysis and present findings. Explanation. Project benefits should be measured continuously rather than waiting until the end. 37. Ethan, a project manager at Oilstream Logistics, is overseeing the execution of a crude oil pipeline expansion project. Midway through, an unexpected environmental regulation change requires additional permits. What should Ethan do first? A. Submit an immediate request for additional funding. B. Analyze the impact of the regulation change and update the project plan. C. Continue with execution, assuming the regulation will not be enforced immediately. D. Escalate the issue to the sponsor and wait for a decision. Answer. B. Analyze the impact of the regulation change and update the project plan. Explanation. Unexpected regulatory changes must be assessed for their impact on cost, schedule, and compliance before taking further action. Failure to comply can result in project delays, penalties, or shutdowns. 38. Olivia, a project manager at Green Pipeline Inc., is leading the installation of leak detection sensors on an existing pipeline. A senior engineer suggests an alternative technology that could improve performance, but requires additional time for testing. What should Olivia do? A. Immediately implement the new technology to improve performance. B. Reject the suggestion to avoid delays. C. Evaluate the proposed change through the change control process. D. Modify the schedule without assessing the impact. Answer. C. Evaluate the proposed change through the change control process. Explanation. Changes to project scope or technology must go through formal evaluation to assess feasibility, cost, and impact before implementation. 39. Jacob, a project manager at Petrolink, is leading a project to upgrade a pipeline's control system. The project sponsor insists on delivering the project 2 months earlier than planned. What should Jacob do? A. Conduct a schedule impact analysis and propose realistic trade-offs. B. Immediately approve the new timeline without assessment. C. Ignore the request and continue with the original schedule. D. Fire team members who resist the change. Answer. A. Conduct a schedule impact analysis and propose realistic trade-offs. Explanation. Schedule acceleration requires impact analysis to determine feasibility and any necessary resource adjustments before committing to changes. 40. Maria, a project manager at Hydrotech Solutions, is executing a gas pipeline reinforcement project. Halfway through execution, she discovers that the project's benefits are not aligning with the strategic goals set by leadership. What should she do? A. Recommend project cancellation or realignment based on a benefits assessment. B. Continue execution and ignore the misalignment. C. Request additional budget to rescope the project. D. Change project objectives without consulting stakeholders. Answer. A. Recommend project cancellation or realignment based on a benefits assessment. Explanation. A project's value must align with strategic objectives. If misalignment occurs, early intervention is required to maximize business benefits. 41. Henry is leading a petroleum storage tank rehabilitation project at Tank Guard Limited. During execution, a major stakeholder withdraws financial support, impacting cash flow. What should Henry do first? A. Identify alternative funding sources and update the risk register. B. Pause execution until the stakeholder reinvests. C. Terminate the project immediately. D. Ignore the issue and continue execution with remaining funds. Answer. A. Identify alternative funding sources and update the risk register. Explanation. Financial risks must be proactively managed, and alternative funding strategies should be explored to prevent project disruption. 42. Natalie, a project manager at Pipeline Safe Ltd., is overseeing the execution of an oil spill prevention project. A key government official expresses concerns about the project's environmental impact. What should Natalie do? A. Engage with the stakeholder to address concerns and mitigate risks. B. Ignore the concern as the project is already approved. C. Proceed with execution without stakeholder input. D. Request project closure to avoid future issues. Answer: A. Engage with the stakeholder to address concerns and mitigate risks. Explanation: active stakeholder engagement is essential to mitigate risks, enhance transparency, and ensure compliance. 43. Aaron is executing a fuel pipeline expansion project for Energy Flow Inc. Due to a cyber attack on the project's IT infrastructure, critical design data has been compromised. What should Aaron do first? A. Activate the project's cybersecurity response plan and inform stakeholders. B. Ignore the attack and continue with execution. C. Shut down the project indefinitely. D. Request additional funding for security without taking any action. Answer: A. Activate the project's cybersecurity response plan and inform stakeholders. Explanation: cybersecurity incidents require immediate containment actions and transparent stakeholder communication. 44. Jessica, a project manager at Smart Pipeline Lilty, is overseeing the implementation of an AI-driven leak detection system. The project team is struggling with adopting the new technology. What should Jessica do? A. Provide hands-on training and mentorship to ease adoption. B. Replace the team with more tech-savvy employees. C. Continue execution without addressing the challenge. D. Request project closure due to lack of skills. Answer: A. Provide hands-on training and mentorship to ease adoption. Explanation: technology adoption in projects requires training, change management, and gradual skill development. 45. Thomas is leading an offshore pipeline maintenance project for Blue Wave Energy. Due to an economic downturn, the client asks him to reduce project costs by 20% without impacting deliverables. What should he do? A. Identify and eliminate non-essential costs while preserving quality. B. Reduce scope to match the new budget without client approval. C. Continue execution and ignore the cost-cutting request. D. Immediately fire team members to reduce costs. Answer: A. Identify and eliminate non-essential costs while preserving quality. Explanation: cost reduction should not compromise project value. Instead, efficiencies should be identified to maintain deliverables. 46. Daniel, a project manager at NextGen Pipelines, is executing a project to install automated valve monitoring systems. During execution, a new government regulation mandates additional safety checks. What should Daniel do first? A. Assess the impact of the new regulation and update the project plan accordingly. B. Ignore the new regulation since the project was approved before it came into effect. C. Proceed with execution and address compliance issues later. D. Terminate the project to avoid legal complications. Answer: A. Assess the impact of the new regulation and update the project plan accordingly. Explanation: regulatory changes must be assessed for their impact on project scope, budget, and timeline to ensure compliance and avoid legal penalties. 47. Sophia is managing the construction of a high-pressure fuel pipeline for Energy Bridge Limited. During project execution, The client expresses concern that the expected benefits of the project are not being realized. What should Sophia do? A. Conduct a project benefits review to evaluate performance against expected value. B. Ignore the concerns and continue with execution as planned. C. Request additional funding to generate more benefits. D. Change project objectives without stakeholder approval. Answer: A. Conduct a project benefits review to evaluate performance against expected value. Explanation: projects should deliver measurable value. If benefits are not being realized, a formal review can identify gaps and corrective actions. 48. Michael is leading a major pipeline refurbishment project for Hydroflow Corp. During execution, a critical supplier files for bankruptcy, putting material deliveries at risk. What should Michael do? A. Identify alternative suppliers and update the risk response plan. B. Halt project execution until a new supplier is secured. C. Continue execution using low-quality substitute materials. D. Request project cancellation due to supply chain failure. Answer: A. Identify alternative suppliers and update the risk response plan. Explanation: supply chain risks must be actively managed to minimize disruptions. Proactive supplier evaluation ensures continuity. 49. Liam, a project manager at PetroSafe Solutions, is executing an emergency pipeline repair project. A key stakeholder is resisting the change because it affects an adjacent facility's operations. What should Liam do? A. Engage with the stakeholder to address concerns and find a mutually beneficial solution. B. Proceed with execution and ignore the stakeholder's resistance. C. Remove the stakeholder from the project team. D. Delay execution indefinitely until the stakeholder agrees. Answer: A. Engage with the stakeholder to address concerns and find a mutually beneficial solution. Explanation: stakeholder resistance must be managed through active engagement to address concerns and ensure alignment. 50. Emily is executing a digital transformation project for a pipeline monitoring system at TechFlow Ltd. Midway through, the leadership team decides to transition the company's operations toward renewable energy solutions. How should Emily respond? A. Assess the impact of the strategic shift and propose necessary project adjustments. B. Continue execution without considering the organizational change. C. Request additional funding to expand the project scope. D. Close the project immediately. Answer: A. Assess the impact of the strategic shift and propose necessary project adjustments. Explanation: organizational changes can impact project alignment with business goals. Project managers must adapt strategies to support new directions. We have done all 50 questions. How did you do? Let us know in the comments section. While you are still here, please subscribe, like, and share our content. We will meet on the next video. All the best for your PMP exam preparations.